board chamber. Thank you. My name is Thomas Taylor, and I'm the school superintendent, and I like to make this announcement before the January school board meeting every year. This is a little unique. This is the board's annual organizational meeting, so it's not typical for the school superintendent to call the meeting to order, but part of the opening exercises of this meeting, which are different than the opening exercises of other meetings, is the election of the board's officers. So I want to welcome you and say thank you for being a part of this special evening of celebrations. We have lots to celebrate this evening. This evening, we are appointing members to school board advisory committees. Thank you all for being here this evening. We're recognizing champions and those who have achieved high levels of success in our programs. Thank you for being here this evening. And we will also be seating the very first student representatives of the school board. This is a historic evening and a historic moment for Stafford County, and we're thrilled that you could be here with us tonight. I would like to call the organizational meeting and annual meeting of the Stafford County School Board to order. Board members, please state your name and magisterial district, and Dr. Warner, we'll start with you.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Warner. I am with the Griffiths-Widewater District.
Maureen Sigmund, Garrisonville District.
Patricia Healy, Rock Hill District.
Susan Randall, George Washington District.
Maya Guy, Aquia.
Alyssa Halstead, Hartwood.
Thank you. Dr. Chase is out of town and therefore unavailable to be with us this evening. She wishes us well for this annual meeting. I would also like to pause for a moment of silence. Yesterday, we lost one of our employees, James Frost, who was a bus attendant who passed unexpectedly. If you'd please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Now, please stand and remain standing for the presentation of the national colors and the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Members of tonight's color guard come from Brook Point High School's Navy GAROTC. Thank you, Cadet Karma Toro, Cadet Daniel Mancy, Cadet Esposa Odese, and Cadet Samuel Mathiasen. The instructors for the Brook Point High School Navy JROTC program are Major Mike Darnell, Master Sergeant Selwyn Reed, and First Sergeant Jason Polanco. Let's give them a round of applause. At this time, I'll be asking for nominations for the position of Chair of the School Board.
Dr. Taylor, I nominate Ms. Randall.
Thank you, Ms. Healy. Ms. Randall, you've been nominated for the position of Chair of the School Board. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Been properly moved and seconded. Okay, not required, but that's okay. We're delighted that you're seconded. Any discussion or further nominations? Okay. All those, please cast your vote. Tally the votes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Thank you. At this time, I ask for nominations for Vice Chair of the School Board. As you know, a second is not required.
I would like to nominate Ms. Healy.
I second.
Okay. Are there any other nominations? Those in favor, or actually, vote.
We got you.
Cast your vote.
We're all
Thank you.
tongue-tied.
I know. Here we go. Tally the vote. Congratulations, Ms. Healy, Vice Chair. Moving on, 2.03, adoption of the 2023 school board meeting schedule. Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve the meeting schedule.
Second.
Motion by Dr. Warner, second by Ms. Halsted. Any questions? Okay, cast your votes. Tally the votes. Okay, calendar passes. Appointment of board members to serve on committees. This was something that we worked on together and was passed out to everyone, so, I'm sorry. 2.04, adoption of the 2023 administrative authorizations. Motion to approve. Motion by Ms. Healy,
Second.
second by Ms. Halsted. Any questions? Cast your votes. Tally the votes. Motion passes. 2.05, appointment of board members to serve on committees. We have already been through these. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the appointments as the liaisons to the school board.
Thank you,
advisory
Dr.
committees.
Warner. Can I get a second? Second, Ms. Healy. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Cast your vote. Tally the vote? Okay, thank you. Motion passes. 2.06, appointment of our school board clerk and deputy clerk and adoption of resolution for bonding of clerk and deputy clerk. Can I get a motion? Motion to approve. Thank you, Ms. Healy. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Halsted. Any questions? Cast your votes. Tally the votes. Motion passes. 2.07, appointment of the 2023 student representative to the school board. This is such an exciting deal for us. We have two young ladies that are going to be serving for us, should this motion pass. And so can I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Way to go, ladies. Any questions, comments, concerns? Cast your votes. I can say more afterwards. Tally the votes. Motion passes. We have, for our first time, student representatives that will be sitting up here with us, working with us, deciding with us, and we are so excited for these two women that are going to be serving. Can you come up to the mic? Come up to the mic and introduce yourselves. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Meraki Salamon. I'm the alternative student representative for Stafford County, and I'm really excited to get started with helping make SCPS a better place. Thank you.
Can you say what school you're from?
I'm from Brook Point.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Catherine Buckman. I'm the current student representative to the board of Stafford County. I'm so thrilled to be here. Currently, I'm a junior at Mountain View High School, and I am beyond excited to be able to work with the board to help make SCPS a better place.
Catherine, can you come take a seat up here?
She forgot to say beyond excited to sit next to me.
Yeah.
I just want that now.
Warning. Okay. So I wanted to also just say, these ladies have been here since 2:30 this afternoon getting their training. So they're really jumping in with both feet on their first night. So we really, really appreciate having them here. So, okay, moving on to the appointment 2.08, appointment of school board advisory committee members. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the committee member assignment.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Any comments, questions, concerns? Cast your votes. Tally the votes. Okay, motion passes. Can I have all of our committee representatives for our advisory committees please stand up? All of our advisory committee members. This has been such a fun night, getting to know you, having you say yes. We really appreciate these people make such a difference in our community, and we encourage parents as well as students, teachers to get involved, and we really appreciate that when we gave the call, you all said yes. So thank you again very much. Moving on to 3.01, approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you, Ms. Healy. Second.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments, questions, concerns? Cast your votes. Tally the votes. Motion approved. Okay, on to our consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve our consent items?
Motion to approve the consent items.
Thank you, Dr. Warner. Second?
Second.
Thank you.
I was waiting for you.
Okay, any comments, questions, concerns? Cast your votes. Okay, tally the votes. Okay, passed unanimously, our consent items. Moving on to announcement of administrative personal appointments. Can I get a motion?
That's an announcement.
Oh, sorry, Dr. Taylor, I'm going to turn it over to you, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Actually, we do not have any additional administrative personnel appointments for this meeting. We'll bring some to you next meeting.
Okay, moving on. Let's go to awards and recognitions. 6.01, can I, Ms. Osborne, are you going to run these through for us? Thank you.
She gets to make motions in seconds now.
Good evening, school board members and Dr. Taylor. This evening, we will recognize staff and community members that epitomize our values of students, integrity, respect, community, opportunity, and excellence. Tonight, we'll recognize Principal Mike Sidebotham, Donna Skidmore, Stafford High School's Theater Department, and the Stafford High School's Cheer Squad for their recent achievements. We begin this evening with Stafford High School's Theater Club, who won 9 awards for their play, Metamorphosis. Stafford Schools proudly acknowledges the accomplishments of our students and is always pleased when other institutions recognize the wealth of talent in our division. Tonight, we congratulate Stafford High School's Theater Department on winning the performance of their play, Metamorphosis, at the 2022 Virginia Theater Association Conference. Featuring stunning performances by our stellar student cast, the production earned top honors for individual and group performances, including Best Play, Outstanding Technical Merit, Outstanding Acting Ensemble, 2 Best Actor Awards, and 3 All-Star Cast Acting Awards. This achievement presents a significant opportunity for theater students to go on to represent the Commonwealth of Virginia at the Southeastern Theater Conference in Lexington, Kentucky this coming May. The conference is held annually in March, features over 300 workshops and classes, and receives 5,000 high school and college theater students and educators. We recognize what an incredible honor it is for our school division to be represented, and we are deeply inspired by the hard work and commitment of our students. At this time, we will recognize each member of the cast individually. Please come forward when I call your name. Audience, please hold your applause until all names have been read. Haley Aid, who received All-Star Cast. Dawson Carneal. Anna Marie Uri. Tyler Gillickson, who also received All-Star Cast. Jackson Henry, who also received All-Star Cast. Emily Harad, who received Best Actor. Gavin Martin. Josephine Martinez. Matthew Puckett. And Sophie Statler. Next, we will recognize the directors, associate directors, and stage crew for their contributions to the department's success. Our director, Mr. Michael Daddario. Associate director, Christian Tice. Assistant director, Sienna Green. Our stage manager, Darby Redmond. Our sound designer, Mercedes-Benz Bushling. Assistant stage managers, Marlena Ball and Silas Newman. Our lighting technicians, Tanner Gillikin, Sadiq Kareem, Gray Navingal. And our stage crew, Aiden Langley, Haley Malone, Casper Odell, Jacqueline Stewart, and Charlie Turner. I'm going to ask you guys to come in and make a few rows. Mr. Daddario, you and your team are a gift to our theater arts community. We are honored to have such an exceptional theater director guiding and supporting our students. Congratulations, students and staff. Thank you. You guys can take your seats.
Thank you, parents. You guys made great kids. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Next, we'll recognize the Stafford High School cheer squad on their state championship. Stafford Schools is proud to acknowledge the Lady Indians cheer squad for being named state cheer champions. This noteworthy achievement is an honest reflection of the hard work, athleticism, and sportsmanship of the entire squad and their amazing coaches. We are inspired by their commitments to both leadership and excellence. Team, when I call your name, please come forward to accept your certificates. Audience, please hold your applause until the end. Reese Barbie, Mackenzie Barham, Kennedy Began, Natalie Began, Lily Bonner, Addison Cooper, Kaylee DeVell, Naira Fusness, Dalton Gallahan, Hannah Grau, Destiny Gray, Lauren Harris, Emily Hyde, Malia Johnson, Jada Jones, Cassidy Lagasse, Ava Langle, Brooke Lowry, Ella Pafudu, Ashley Proudfoot, Riley Proudfoot, Sophia Robbins, Allie Snyder, and Peyton Van Dyke. Next, we will recognize the coaches who give of their time and talents to help this team reach its highest potential. Coaches, please come forward when I call your name. Coach Janet Barham, Coach Ashley Dingus, Coach Alyssa Guthrie, Coach Christy Proudfoot, and Coach Taylor Rossi. Everybody want to move in? Thank you, coaches, for your continued guidance and leadership. We are very proud to have such committed and dedicated coaches supporting our student athletes. Congratulations to these student athletes and their coaches.
Parents, they clearly know what to do. Yeah, they're trained pros right here.
Thank you, ladies. At this time, we will present a proclamation declaring February 6th through 10th, 2023 as School Counseling Week. Accepting the proclamation is Diana Smithy, school counselor at Rodney Thompson Middle School. Ms. Smithy, will you join us at the front? A proclamation to recognize February 6th through 10th, 2023 as School Counseling Week. Whereas school counselors are employed in public and private schools to help students reach their full potential, and whereas school counselors are actively committed to helping students explore their abilities, strengths, interests, and talents as these traits relate to career awareness and development, and whereas school counselors help parents focus on ways to further the educational, personal, and social growth of their children, and whereas school counselors work with teachers and other educators to help students explore their potential and set realistic goals for themselves, and whereas school counselors seek to identify and utilize community resources that can enhance and complement comprehensive school counseling programs and help students become productive members of society, and whereas school counselors are a vital part of recovery efforts as they have adapted their programs to meet student and community needs in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, and whereas school counselors act as advocates for educational equity and social justice, they empower marginalized students, close achievement gaps, and address systemic barriers, and whereas comprehensive developmental school counseling programs are considered an integral part of the educational process that enables all students to achieve success in school, now, therefore be it proclaimed that the School Board of Stafford County hereby designates February 6th through 10th, 2023 as School Counseling Week throughout the school division. Adopted by the School Board of Stafford County on this 13th day of December, 2022. Thank you. Thank you to all of our counselors for the care and devotion you show to our students each and every day. Next, we will recognize our everyday superheroes. Not all heroes wear capes, and many are found within our school division. On Friday, December 16th, Stafford School's bus driver Donna Skidmore was transporting Grafton Village Elementary students home from school when another motorist attempted to pass her school bus, setting in motion a series of events that left the bus overturned. Ms. Skidmore quickly sprung into action, safely removing the children from harm's way and swiftly alerting the division while also soothing her young passengers. Ms. Skidmore, can you join us, please? When first responders arrived on the scene, she initially refused to be examined, insisting that the focus remain on the children. Stafford Schools values the well-being of our staff, but we would be remiss not to acknowledge Ms. Skidmore's selfless devotion to the students in her care. The following Monday, Ms. Skidmore returned to the driver's seat, stating she did not want her students to be fearful riding a different bus with an unfamiliar driver after their experience. Her care is deeply felt by her students. Every student was present at their bus stop Monday morning, demonstrating the incredible trust that families continue to have in Ms. Skidmore's ability to keep their children safe. Principal Sidebotham, will you join Ms. Skidmore, please? Tonight, we also acknowledge Principal Mike Sidebotham's profound leadership and compassion during a time of crisis. Rushing to the scene of the accident, Mr. Sidebotham worked diligently with first responders and central office staff to ensure the well-being of his colleague and students. With a cool head, calm resolve, and reassuring spirit, he continually guided and comforted students until they could be safely reunited with their families. He also insisted that Ms. Skidmore was checked by medical staff to make certain that she was okay. Thank you both for working tirelessly to restore the peace of mind to our students and their families amid a high-stress event. As a community, we are all deeply inspired by your devotion and commitment to these young people the division proudly serves. Thank you.
No, I can, oh my God, you're horrible. Thank you, everybody, for participating in those awards and recognitions from our student troops that were performers to our cheerleaders, who my son will actually work with those cheerleading coaches for 2 years. They are phenomenal. Good teachers, good coaches, we need them. And counseling month, we all know that that has been an increased demand in our schools, and we're so lucky to have who we have. And just really always are looking for great people to help us with our kids. And then, of course, our heroes, Ms. Skidmore for her calm, her resolve, and she even came back and to work for us again the next day. So we really appreciate her, and Mr. Sidebotham for his jump to being there for his kids and his families. That's what our county is about. We really, really care for our kids and like to celebrate all of our people that do great things for our county. Next up are our presentations. 7.01, the FY22 Annual Audit Report and Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. I know the FABC had a brief look at this. Chris, you want to go ahead and take that?
Sure thing. Just want to introduce Mr. Garber. Mr. Garber joins us from PB Mayors. This is their first year on the audit. We rotated off auditors this year and had a great experience. Mr. Garber did provide a little bit more of a detailed report at our FABC meeting this morning, and he joins us today to give the full board an overview of the audit process this year. Mr. Garber.
Madam Chair,
Welcome
members
back.
of the board, I am deeply disappointed that all these people did not turn out to hear the audit report this evening. I really thought I was about to present to the largest group that I have ever presented to, and then they saw the agenda and immediately left as fast as they could. And I was talking with Mr. Fulmer. I was really hoping to have a chance, if they don't all become teachers, to try to push they could become accountants, because we are all in desperate need of people in every
Every field.
area. So
Every
you
field.
get them first, and then I'll take them second.
I had one.
But we did meet earlier this morning with the finance, the FABC, the Finance and Budget Committee, still learning some of the acronyms, and did go through the audit report and financial statements in general, and the findings and recommendations and things we had with that group. So I will just quickly say that we issued unmodified opinion on the financial statements, and that's the one you're looking for. That's the clean opinion that we can issue. We also issued reports on the single audit and the federal dollars that you spend, as well as other internal control and compliance issues. And both of those reports were also clean reports. So fantastic job. As you're handing out commendations and things of that nature, don't forget your finance staff every now and then, because they did a super job. Probably one of the easiest and best first-year audits that I have ever conducted in 30 years. So, yes, very, very good. It was a good audit, but as far as a first year, it went extremely, extremely well. So kudos to Mr. Fulmer and Tamarin and all of the finance department for them. We did have a couple recommendations in the management letter that we've passed along, and I believe all of this was sent to you ahead of time as well in a PDF. So just some observations we have, and you know, this year we had a couple. It's not to say that next year we won't have something different, something new, as we turn over different leaves and look at different areas when we're doing our audit next year. So with that, I don't have anything else I want to take your time to go over this evening, but since you did have a chance to have it ahead of time, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have or address any observations.
Does anyone have any questions that they would like to ask? Okay.
I'm still processing it for sure. I mean, when I first
It's a
opened
lot
it,
of
I was
numbers.
like, it's 212 pages.
It's a large document.
I need a beach and,
Yeah. And
somebody to bring me,
Tiny umbrellas.
yes,
Yes.
for it. But can you just walk through the process a little bit of what you're looking for, just so I understand this better as
Sure.
I'm reading this? Just help me
Sure.
understand what this looks like, so hopefully I will read it, because I think it will help me, but help me understand the process of doing this.
Sure. So I'll also add, as I did this morning, if you don't have any questions this evening, but you have some tomorrow or next week or next month, I am more than happy to answer them. So it doesn't have to, I'm not here once a year. I am here all the time if you need me. So if there's questions you have after you've had a chance to review it, I'm happy to sit down and talk to you and answer those. So the audit is in several different phases. It's really about a 7 to 8 month long process. We will be here in March, April, sometime around that time frame, to do what we call preliminary audit work. And in that stage, we will do a lot of observation, a lot of inquiry, a lot of document looking to try to review original documents. We test controls, we document controls. We assess our risks in the audit as we look at everything from a 30,000 level foot and working our way down. I'll start with 30,000 feet as an airplane, but then I'll start saying we use an onion and we start peeling back the layers. So we do a lot of that work in those early stages. And then they'll close their books and finish up the accruals that they need to do, getting ready for us to come in, finalizing everything, doing reconciliations. And then we came this year, I can't remember, September, October, sometime around that time frame to do our final work, where if there's any compliance issues we haven't finished testing, we'll wrap those up then, and then we start looking at all of those numbers and dollars and things in that financial statement. And again, we're based on a risk approach. We don't look at all of them. If you want me to look at 100% of the population, that's a 14-month process for each year. And you don't want to see that fee either. It would not be worth it. So, you know, we don't test everything, but we do random sampling and things of that nature, pretty large size samples to make sure we feel comfortable that the controls are operating and processes are in place to get the numbers where they need to be. Thank you. No, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, next up is 7.02, Strategic Plan 2027, Strategies and Tactics, Stage 3 of 3. Dr. Towery? She's like the perfect school teacher that teaches us the things we need to do and know.
Good evening.
It oozes out of you still.
I'll take that as a compliment. There we go. So what I would like to do this evening is just give you a little bit of an overview of the process we did for this kind of next stage of the strategic plan, highlight some of the themes we see outlined in the strategies and tactics, and then just request that you all continue to provide feedback on this next stage of the process to guide our conversation. So I really want to thank everyone for the immense effort and support that everybody has put into this. Let's see if I can. Is that better? Maybe a little bit. I really want to thank everyone that has contributed to this effort. We had a number of working groups all throughout the fall that provided input, that brainstormed for each of the goals and objective areas to really come up with a really phenomenal draft. And then we had a number of committee chairs that then supported with refining that, editing that, and really trying to get it into a final package of what we think we can move the needle on in the next 5 years. And so I think we've made some significant progress in that effort, but I do really want to thank everyone who helped out with that. We had school level staff, administrators, teachers, paraprofessionals, career coaches, just a number of different stakeholders who were able to provide different lenses on how to flesh out each of these goal areas. So we did that kind of through, we solicited for those committees kind of through August and September. We kicked off that work October 17th. Those committees worked October through November, and then we sought some refining feedback mid-November prior to Thanksgiving, and then used the month of December to really do kind of that final editing work. So I would say there's kind of two real things that we looked at as we moved through this. So one was kind of really focusing on those systems that we need to build out as we continue growing as a school system, and then really keeping in mind those things that are feasible within the next 5 years to push us from that kind of good to great that we are really focused on aiming towards right now. For goal one, I want to kind of highlight 3 themes. One is really thinking through those core skills and competencies that students need upon graduation, really thinking through that Stafford profile of a graduate and what that is. In conjunction with that, really thinking through the development of college and career readiness plans, refining that, making sure every kid's working on that, that staff, parents, et cetera, know what that looks like for a kid and are able to support them. And then really looking to modernize in relation to that and economic changes, our secondary programs to support students with that, and then also really focusing on what students need in elementary and middle school leading up to that so that they are ready to take advantage of those opportunities. For goal 2, really looking at ensuring that we are implementing research-based literacy and mathematics instruction, core instruction with appropriate intervention and extension opportunities to support every student. Really working to further develop community partnerships and wraparound support so we can support students not only during the school day, but outside of the school day. And really working on building out the multi-tiered systems of support framework to adequately support students with their Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 instruction. For Goal 3 themes, we really want to focus on making sure we're consistently meeting OSHA standards, making sure that we have both some modernization of our risk assessments, as well as developing some systematic processes for early intervention and support of students who may be starting to experience crisis. And then equipping all of our stakeholders, staff, students, parents, community members to help keep our schools safe. Providing wraparound supports for social emotional needs. That's kind of that other side of the MTSS pyramid in terms of our academic supports and social emotional supports. And then ensuring that we have adequate space and facility standards to provide our students and staff with healthy, meaningful work and learning environments. Our Goal 4 themes really focus around competitive compensation and benefits, really developing meaningful staffing standards, and then really focusing on differentiated professional learning and growth opportunities to provide systematic onboarding for every staff member in the division, but then really helping each person with where they are in their personal and professional growth trajectory to be able to take those next steps to improve. So those are our themes across that. There's obviously more in here than that, but trying to kind of bucket it, that's what I would kind of highlight as the themes. So I obviously want to encourage time to digest, time to give feedback. I don't know if there are any initial questions, feedback.
I have one.
Okay, we can go ahead and start with you. Go ahead.
Just as I was glancing over it, what's the Stafford approach to writing?
So that's actually one of the tactics, is to develop that.
Oh, okay.
So,
Is that defined around just making sure that, I mean, so I'm gonna sound dumb here, but are we talking about, we're not talking about handwriting, we're talking like,
we're talking about writing a letter, writing a
paper,
composition, an
composition.
essay, knowing, I mean, that's gonna be part of it, right? Is knowing what type of writing you do based on whether you're writing a professional email, or you're writing an analytical essay, or you're writing, you know, there's
Yeah,
different
no,
types
I
of
love that.
writing,
Yeah, no, I
right?
think that's great. And my actual question, my real question, I feel like is, so for each of the tactics is the next steps, then will we see how we intend for that to be rolled out? Like how this will be put into motion, because this is fabulous to me. Like I very much applaud the work that's been done on this. I mean, to see the strategies and tactics like this hits my emergency manager heart, like right here. This is good stuff. But now I'm like, now I'm ready to see the how-to. So is that in a next, I mean, whether we see it or not, is that the next step?
So I can chime in on that. Yes, and it's a happy coincidence that this dovetails with budget season, because a lot of our role with the strategic plan as a governance team and as your superintendent is how do we commit resources to some of the actions that we're moving forward with. And so some of this needs to be mapped out as part of your 5-year budget as well as your next year budget. And so we're in the process of prioritizing that and putting that as part of your fiscal '24 presentation, but then also as part of your 5-year presentation.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Ms. Guy, did you have any questions?
No.
Okay. Anybody else down here? Dr. Warner?
I was looking at the assessment strategies, and one of the things we're talking about is meeting growth targets, but the state requirements are to meet certain benchmarks, and how we're going to integrate those two sort of different strategies. I mean, it's wonderful to have benchmarks, but if a student comes to us, we have to also be able to determine growth to see where that's going. So how are we going to integrate that?
Mm-hmm. And the other thing I would argue is this gets to kind of the next stage of that assessment discussion as well, which is really moving towards that balanced assessment build-out where you're both measuring kind of core competencies, which might be through your kind of SOL type growth assessments and your instructional screeners with MAP, which are excellent tools for some of that growth measurement. But it's also starting to outline that next stage of the assessment piece, which is how do you start to provide opportunities for students to demonstrate transferability of skills and the ability to synthesize information from what they're doing in history with what they're doing in science and put that together. And that's where you really get to those skill sets that make you employable, right? So I think that's, to me, it's that twofold piece of both how do we make sure we're measuring growth, how do we measure, kind of monitor whether kids are on grade level or not, and then how do we help kids go beyond the bubble, right, is the coined phrase of applying tangible application of skills that will help them beyond K-12 world. Does that help a little bit?
It does. I just want to be aware that we have to consider both because we have to answer to two different
You have to look at both
groups.
sides.
Yeah.
I did. I feel like I remember in a work session on this, in regards to the objective 2 about mathematics, we also discussed inclusion of numeracy. I don't see that mentioned at all in here. I don't know if we're using those terms interchangeably, but I know Dr. Chase especially has raised some really interesting points on the importance of including numeracy. So I wanted to put it out there.
So it's hinted at the computational fluency piece a little bit, but it's a good point on specifically, I'll add that as a note on here to maybe specifically call out numeracy.
I feel like in the spirit of Dr. Chase to stick up for her since she's not here, but if it's not written down, if numeracy isn't stated, then it won't be, so we need to put that in there. Okay, thank you.
I would also mention too that part of that numeracy and literacy was our board goal, not necessarily the strategic plan, not that it shouldn't be there too, but it was stated as one of our board goals was the numeracy and literacy piece. So, Ms. Healy, do you have anything?
No, I remember what did you call them, those work sessions back in the last year?
Focus groups
Yeah,
back
the focus
in the spring.
groups, my gosh, you've come a long way, congratulations.
Thank you.
I saw the little stickies on the walls, and, oh my goodness,
You did not want to walk in my office for about 2 months.
yeah. Well, I went to a couple of them, and a lot of those stickies repeated themselves, which was a good thing when you're coming up with goals and objectives, so congratulations, Dr. Towery, great job.
I do want to thank you for all the work you've put into this. It really has been a process, and it's impressive to see how it's been building, and it's all coming together. So thank everybody on the teams for doing this.
Anyone else? Thank you very much, Dr. Towery, for giving us this, and we'll be certain to have more time to look at it and share if we have any questions or comments, concerns, what have you. So
Okay.
thank you
Sounds
very
good.
much.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, clap. Okay, the next student representative report, Catherine.
Hello, everyone. So unfortunately, because this is my first meeting and I've only been a board member for a couple of minutes, this report is a bit lacking in substance. However, in the future, I'm looking forward to using this time to relate to the board and to those watching the objectives of the student representatives and the student perspective. Right now, I think I'll essentially use this as a time to reintroduce myself. So hello, my name is Catherine Buckman. I'm a junior at Mountain View High School. So my fellow representative, Meraki, and I, we are so thrilled to have been given the opportunity for this position. Not only do we look forward to representing the voices of the student, which is absolutely critical, but we are also very eager to work with the board to provide the student perspective. So thank you so much, and we are both so excited to begin working with you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Meraki, since you are here this evening, did you want to say something?
Basically,
You need to come up to the microphone because I won't hear you on the TV.
Okay. So Catherine said everything, but I'm truly grateful and honored to be chosen and to be a part of such just an important aspect of our community, and I'm very excited to bring students' voices and students' opinions into a decision-making process that affects us. So thank you.
Thank you. I have to add that in their onboarding this afternoon, it was interesting when Dr. Taylor was reviewing some of the community input as to concerns that they have for the community. And he asked, what do you think the number one concern is? And they shared with us some of their concerns of students, obviously a student viewpoint of drugs and violence and social media. Those are things that are in our kids' world. Well, on the survey of what was in the parents' mind of a major concern for our community was growth, which is, of course, our board's mind. So you can see right away that we have a really nice, nice opportunity here to work with our students in making sure that while we do hear a parent perspective, that a student perspective is actually quite a gift for us. So I'm super excited. It's something that we've been talking about for a few years, since Dr. Warner and I got on. And so it's nice to see it come to fruition. So we're super excited. Thank you. Citizen comments, we have none this evening. So we're going on to action items. Action item, get your clickers ready. Action item 10.01, adoption of proposed revisions to policy 1108, meetings of the school board.
Motion to approve.
Okay, I have a motion, a second. Okay. Any comments, questions, concerns? Cast your vote. Yeah. Tally the vote. Motion passes 5-1. Ms. Sigmund is a no. Okay. 10.02, identification of and approval for the installation of modular classrooms at elementary schools for the 23-24 school year pending appropriation of funding by the Board of Supervisors. Motion to approve?
Motion to approve the mobile units, which are going to be an ongoing issue for our school system until we get more capacity.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, concerns? I can go down the row here. Dr. Warner?
No, I think this was pretty well discussed at the retreat. I don't have any additional questions, but are we going to be on a successful timeline for getting these installed prior to the start of the school year, next school year?
Yeah, great question. So I believe so. You know, nothing is guaranteed in these times, but we're currently on schedule to be a tight timeline, but, you know, our staff think we can get them open before school.
Okay. Ms. Sigmund?
I know that there were some questions about the numbers on the surplus deficit sheet at the retreat, and I just wanted to know if there are any notable changes that we should be aware of. There's a lot of numbers on here, so just wanted to make sure we were looking at the right thing. And if this is the old one, that's fine too. I just want to know if I'm supposed to be looking for changes here.
Yeah, so there've been some small tweaks over the time. So, you know, staff definitely appreciate the time we've been given and the feedback that the board has provided staff over the last couple of months as we've worked through this. Mr. White and I went floor plan by floor plan, room by room, you know, counting up, verifying number of classrooms, full-size classrooms, half classrooms,
Workrooms.
what's an office, what's a workroom, and analyzing those by square footage to see could that be a half a class or resource room if needed. and feel really confident that we are, presenting you a really good representation of our elementary schools and the deficits that we have there. Honestly, since the last few meetings we've had, our year one proposed modular classrooms has not changed. Neither has year two. Now, I will say, year two gets fuzzier, right? This is really a one-year plan. We're asking for approval with some, an outlook into the future. Because we're gonna take what actually comes with the projections, what that actually comes, because when Mr. White does his projections, which are very accurate, we don't always know whether it's a third grade class, a second grade class that's gonna tip over the point where we add another classroom and put us at a deficit maybe in that school. So this is the best reflection of actual classroom space we've had in years, and the most comfortable I feel with it, as far as what's a true representative of K-5 classrooms that we have and what's the either surplus or deficit in that school. I will say, by doing these trailers, it's no guarantee, some of that's because of projections, that we're not gonna have a school that pops up that there's nowhere to put that K-5 classroom, and we could end up with art or music on a cart, and we're gonna have to address that in year two. So I'm laying that out there because I pointed out before that Moncure is kind of it's our biggest elementary school and has the most number of classrooms. They also have a lot of needs at that school, and they have a lot of students. So one of the challenges we face there is they're showing a minor deficit, which wouldn't always alarm us, but those two deficit classrooms are full-size classrooms that we can't, you can't take a full third grade class and just stick them in a half-size resource room and tell the teacher to serve all 22, 23 kids. So that's one we're definitely watching and may need to address in year two, along with Garrisonville, and I believe Grafton Village was the other one in year two. Year one, feel very confident because, honestly, all those schools have needs today, and they're only growing, and so we'll know they'll need them next year as well.
I just want to clarify. So when we look at getting these modular classrooms into our county or whatever, we built a new school, we moved some kids out, we're still just moving modular classrooms from like school to accommodate. Because I guess the purchasing part of it is still a little blurry for me. Like, I mean, I know it's a never-ending overcrowdedness right now at our elementary school level, but this is a lot of money to spend even on modular classrooms. So if I can decompress one school and get rid of two of the modulars there to put kids here, I'm literally just moving the modulars to decompress another school at some point. And if not, where are we putting these things and what are we doing with them if we're, let's say we get done using them. There's no resale value on them, I'm assuming.
No,
We're just
we
stuck with
could.
them. You could.
Yeah, and I don't see that the need is going to drastically drop off. Even as we get to adding the new elementary schools, those modular classrooms will give us an ability to actually spread out and use some of the space that we should be using now, and we've had to sacrifice to kind of cram in and make space for our K-5 teachers, and maybe some of our resource teachers will actually have the space that they need by the time we open 2 new elementary schools and start to expand out. We also have the option of picking up those modular units. We own them, and we can move them to another school. Obviously, there's some infrastructure costs that we'll still incur, so we'll have to evaluate that when the time comes. But we own them, and honestly, there is a resale value. I don't want to state an amount because I don't know it, but we could, 5, 10 years from now, if we deem that we've opened 4 elementary schools and we feel like it's time that we've moved on from trailers, we could sell them.
So, Mr. Fulmer, I'll also add, Ms. Halstead's asking a really important question, and that has to do with the break-even point of the option of either leasing or purchasing. Right. And the time horizon is just over 2 years of leasing versus buying. So leasing for just over 2 years, and we're talking about a time horizon that's past 3 years, right, possibly even longer, depending on some of the other needs that we may have in the county. So financially, it does make sense to do a purchase, and there is the added bonus of the potential for there to also be a resale component on top of it. It gives everybody great pause that we would even consider the purchase of a temporary solution, because of what that communicates, right, is that you're permanently committing to a temporary solution. And that is our concern as well, but financially, this is the better deal.
And just to capitalize on that too, I mean, it makes it look like there is a solution that isn't urgent for schools to be built. And so that's the other concern. We're spending a good deal of money on these things. I just don't want people to say, well, then you don't need schools, you got classrooms. Most of our folks aren't gonna say that, I get it. But it's like looking at a car. Do I wanna lease? Where's my value? What's the return on my investment of that? So I appreciate you saying that, because it's also just the thought of constantly moving modular classrooms around the community or around the county and never actually solving the issue. That weighs on my head. So that's all.
Ms. Guy?
Since there is a potential resale value, do we look at getting used trailers here to save money, or maybe get them quicker?
Yeah, some of these are refurbished trailers that we are able to get now, actually. So there's a used price and a refurbished price, but we inspect the refurbished and make sure. They're like the ones at Conway that we installed this year. You wouldn't know it, but they're in really good condition, and they've been refurbished. So they are actually cheaper than the
So
brand
all
new
of our
units.
trailers that we're getting, or learning cottages, sorry, Lionel, are refurbished, or?
That is the plan right now,
Okay.
yes. As long as there is an adequate supply of the refurbished ones and we approve of them when we go out to inspect them. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Ms. Healy?
We're still advocating for elementary school 18 and 19 to be built
100%.
ASAP, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I don't want to lose that view. These, and I'll call them trailers because that's what they are. I mean, learning cottages sounds nice. And I'm sure what's important is the teachers and the students that will be there and the security that we'll have, which is an additional cost that's not even factored into this purchase, is what we have to do to make them secure. But I don't want to lose sight of our quest. And I'm hoping our student representatives can help us on this as well as we move forward for community support to build elementary school 18 and 19 to open, what, a year from August? Is that that's our goal. So then we will be probably moving some of these facilities elsewhere, but I have no doubt that we're going to continue to use them. And I will note that many times in the past, when we've had these things at either the high school or the middle schools, because we really haven't had them in elementary school for that long, once we finish with the need for them, the schools have asked to keep them. They have very much enjoyed having the additional space and being able to utilize it for another purpose. So I'm confident that we will utilize this space one way or another, whether it be where they're going now or somewhere else. And it will be for the benefit of our students and staff. But let's move forward on that, that march we have toward getting approval for those two schools.
That's a great point we haven't discussed yet, but, right now we're adding high school 6. There's a high school 7 on the horizon, in that 10-year, 12-year period. Additionally, we know middle school needs are rising as well. You can't add a high school and elementary, and, they go somewhere in the middle, so there's a need at middle school too. So we don't have to look at just keeping them at the elementary school level. They could be relocated to a middle or high school level down the road as well.
Our new capacities worksheets, are those being communicated to the county?
They will be communicated to the county. You did approve them in December, and this is a big part of that. So this will be your official capacity report moving forward. So the things that you have adopted as your standards are the new standard for Stafford County.
Any other questions or comments about our standards, our capacity, our trailer count? Anything? Okay. Cast your vote. Tally the vote. Motion passes 6-0. Okay. Superintendent report, Dr. Taylor?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and Happy New Year. I would like to thank our teachers and staff for a great start to this new year. I think back to last year during Snowpocalypse, Snowmicron, whatever you want to call it, and it's just a delight to be actually in session and to have student learning taking place this week. We're just absolutely thrilled. I'd like to pass along some praise to one of my colleagues, Dr. Rebecca Towery, for her outstanding work on our strategic plan. It has been a year in the making with this board, and over 1,000 hands have been involved in this work, and has just been a great representation of our communities. We've had student, teacher, staff, parent, and community member voice echoed throughout this document, and we're all very proud of it, and I know that you all are too. Thank you very much for your support. I'd like to welcome Catherine Buckman and Meraki Solomon to the governance team as our student representatives to the school board. I should let you know that you are joining 7 very, very excited ladies to welcome you to their team. This is something that they have been looking forward to as long as I've known them, and something that has been a high priority for them to elevate student voice. And we know that the only way for Stafford County to be the best school system in the Commonwealth and in the nation is for our student voice to be front and center, and you all are joining an amazing team. I would like to congratulate our new chair, Susan Randall, and our new vice chair, Patricia Healy. It was a pleasure working with you in slightly different roles last year, and I'm thrilled to see your leadership continue. And our board has really benefited over the past year, and I know that you will lead this board into new heights next year. This board has never ceased to amaze me in how you have gone about tackling some really challenging topics. This evening, you tackled portable classrooms, and without losing focus on the real need, which is that in the next couple years, we need to erect multiple elementary schools and multiple schools in general. So there's a long road ahead, and that this is just one step, but at no point have you all faltered or deviated from the true mission, which is to make sure that we have adequate learning space, safe learning space for all of our children. I would be remiss if I also didn't congratulate our newly appointed School Board Advisory Committee members. It was such a delight to have nearly 140 representatives from our community here to meet one another, to learn about our friends and neighbors in other parts of the county who have a shared interest in a particular area and have a shared interest in service to children in this community. Thank you for your sacrifice, and thank you for making time to be a part of this school community. I'm looking forward to consulting with the student representatives on the school board for the student appointees to those committees, and look forward to having that voice echoed not just in this chamber, but also on our board's advisory committees. My thoughts and prayers are certainly with my colleague, Dr. George Parker, and the entire Newport News community as they're dealing with the aftermath of a shooting at Rich Neck Elementary School. This is an unwelcome reminder of the importance of campus safety in our community. It is my hope that each of us, students, staff, and family, resolve to make this year the safest year in Stafford history. If you see something out there, please say something. Ms. Skidmore and Mr. Sidebotham, thank you very much for your service in a time of crisis. You definitely embody the Stafford spirit of taking care of one another in this community, and we are so grateful for your heroism in just an awful, awful circumstance. There's a busy couple of months ahead for the school board as we enter our budget season. We look forward to hearing from our community over the next several weeks, so I've got just a handful of announcements. And I'll begin with probably a happy announcement that will be closed on Monday in observance of the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. We have our next Listen and Learn sessions, which are an opportunity just to sit down and talk to school division staff. The next one is January 17th at Hartwood Elementary School at 6 p.m. And then again on January 27th at 10:15 a.m. at Mountain View High School's Wildcat Cafe. This is just a great opportunity for us to sit down and talk. Anything that's on your mind, it's kind of open mic night with us. at those events, and really look forward to that. Please look for more information on social media. We have our first community meetings regarding the elementary school 18 construction on January 18th at 6:30 p.m. at Rocky Run Elementary School, and a second meeting on January 30th at 6:30 p.m. at Gale Middle School. We will also be hosting transportation and nutrition department job fairs. Both will be held at our Fleet Services and Transportation Center located at 4 Transfleet Drive in South Stafford. The first is on Thursday from 4:30 to 7 o'clock, and the second is on Saturday, February 4th, from 9 a.m. to noon. You can register for these events or look for more information on our social media and website. We also have budget town halls, and you'll hear a little bit more about this coming up at our budget presentation in 2 weeks, but I'd be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity to share our schedule for opportunities for public engagement on our upcoming fiscal '24 budget, which begin on February 6th. All of these begin at 7 p.m., and we'll begin in the Rock Hill District at Rodney Thompson Middle School. And Mrs. Healy and I and division staff will be here to talk to folks at Rodney Thompson, February 6th. And February 8th, the Aquia District and the Griffiths Widewater District will meet at Stafford L, right down the street. On February 9th, the George Washington and Falmouth districts will meet at Drew Middle School. And February 13th, Garrisonville and Hartwood will meet at Winding Creek Elementary School. You don't have to be in one of those magisterial districts to attend one of those meetings, but this is a great opportunity to connect with your district school board member too. So if you are, that's even better. All of these dates are listed on our division calendar and our division website, and we'll be putting out information on social media. There's lots of fun stuff going on in our school division too. Our athletic teams and student events are just absolutely humming right now and moving in the right direction. We're so proud of our kids and all that they've accomplished. The last little bit that I'll note is a little bit of a curveball and a little bit of a surprise that we got. The governor announced his proclamation for Principals Appreciation Week, which is actually next week. And if we had known that a little bit further in advance, we probably would have snuck it in and put it in our proclamations for this meeting. We'll make sure that we get that in our next one for sure. But we want to recognize our principals for all their outstanding work, and the extra time and service that they give to this community is just absolutely outstanding, and a great example of that with Mr. Sidebotham earlier today. Just absolutely goes above and beyond the call of duty, and that's just representative of the hard work that our team does. And we look forward to recognizing them next week and also at our next school board meeting as well. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor. Okay, board member comments. Who wants to start? Okay, Ms. Halsted, you're on a timer. Maya, you got that?
You can't time me. Oh, you can gong me, but you can't time me. So the first thing I want to say is welcome and congratulations. This is super exciting, and I think it is a really important role. I mean, as much as I enjoy the company of adults, it's really you guys and your education and the fact that you finally have a voice and get to just give it to us. And I really, really, really hope you're successful in getting other kids to understand that this is something we take very seriously. So 2023, it's a new year. Clearly, my colleagues need to make a resolution not to time me, but whatever. So some people do use it as a time to start over. I gave that up a long time ago. I just use it as a time to keep moving, a way to keep moving forward, right? It doesn't matter what day it is. You just got to keep putting one foot in front of the other, as it were. So the first year on this board definitely filled with a lot of growth. Whew. Learning, lots of tripping and falling in so many ways. But I'm really grateful that it went that way. I think we've learned a lot about each other, and we've learned many, many ways to sort of, duke it out and then work it out. And to me, that's been a huge lesson. I've also learned a lot about interacting with the public and understanding more about what that is. I want to point out that first, and this may not mean anything to anybody, but the number 23 has always been one of my favorite numbers. And so I'm really looking for this year, like, because it's 23 now. I'm really looking for it to hold significance in a lot of ways, but for our kids. So I want to take a few things that have really resonated with me. And over the break, I took a lot of time to talk to folks, whether they were, and not just Stafford County folks, but kids, my nieces and nephews and cousins and all that. And we talked about a lot of things. So I'm going to get very real with everyone right now, and I'm going to explain a little bit of my frustrations that I have, that I take with me into the new year, and how I hope we can start to refocus some of the things. Susan, you mentioned it earlier, and I'm happy that it's in my thoughts tonight. I feel a little bit frustrated that we've spent more time in the last 3 years focused on fighting about gender than we have about drugs and our kids' access to those drugs, what those drugs do to our kids, and how they're ending up with it. We literally have not put the same amount of focus on that issue. And it is terrifying to me, the amount of drugs that come into Stafford County and enter our school system. Maybe not directly into our buildings, but certainly into our students. And their access to it, no matter how good our sheriff's officers are, increases. And it doesn't help us. So I'd like to see us put a much more significant role and importance on the drugs that our kids have access to. We've argued symbols and their impact, all while we kind of forced our kids into these little boxes and labeled them with things, instead of just letting them be the kids that you need to be. And for me, that's an exceptionally difficult pill to swallow, because this is literally the time that you take to figure out who you are, or what you're gonna be, or who you want to be. And so I hope that we as a board can get you more policies and more progress forward, which allows you to focus more on being a kid, a teenager rife with hormones and all that other stuff, versus trying to have everything figured out right now. I feel like we've discouraged individuality by demanding that things be more equal. It's a little bit strange to me. You can't have equal and individual. That's the beauty of individual, is that you may excel at something. What if we were all good at football? There'd be no hockey, and that would be sad to me, 'cause I like hockey. I really 150% believe we normalize sexuality in our children at a frighteningly young age. It terrifies me to my core that we've made sex and sexuality so normal in our society. Yet we've refused to speak about the impact of sexually transmitted diseases on our kids and what that will mean for their lives moving forward. It's very upsetting to me. Many of you know my background in public health, and I started in New York City. So if you would like to have a very big conversation about what that looks like, please let me know what you would like to hear about that, because without that reality focused around the conversations that we're allowing our children to be exposed to, I think we're in serious trouble. We villainize the acceptability of boundaries while vilifying those who set to put them in place, because I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. Our kids need boundaries. They crave boundaries. They crave a little bit of that discipline and that sense of caring from an adult that says, hey, don't do that. You're gonna burn yourself. You're gonna cut yourself. You're gonna get hurt. Don't do it. I've literally had to bite my tongue while I listen to people, some teachers, come up here and threaten this board, and therefore their community, that they weren't gonna comply with a policy. Openly have stated it right here. And I think, wow, you're not just saying that to this board, you're saying that to the parents and students that are in your classroom. Stop. We're not asking for much. We're asking that you come in and you teach these kids and you show them what you have through your compassion, your knowledge, your years of experience. No one should be coming up here and making anyone feel that anything they want will force a teacher to not comply with a board policy. It's really stunning to me the number of times it happened. I feel like our teachers are tired, and for good reason. They are. There's no doubt about it. Our teachers are exhausted. They have taken on multiple roles outside of imparting education on our kids, and it's not necessary. They are natural mentors for our children. They just are. They enjoy the beauty of academics. They enjoy imparting that wisdom on their kids. They will form a natural bond, and that's as far as it would go. They've begun, though, to take on the role of counselor. and that's burning them out. So we need to be really careful about the pressures that we put on our teachers. And I'm gonna tell you something else just about the behavior changes that we've seen in our kids. I talked to a first grader. She's a Stafford County first grader. And I asked her if she liked her school, and she said, no, she hated school. She's first grade. And she hates it because her teacher yells all the time. Not because her teacher's mean, but because classroom control has gotten so difficult and so hard. And that's something that we need to focus on as a board in this upcoming year, or I would hope we will. Look, being a mentor to a kid is a teacher's greatest gift, but it's not their primary job, and I hope that we alleviate some of that pressure for them up and coming. I'm gonna ask the parents, once again, please stay off of social media and stop creating the division that your kids see. They're not dumb. They know how to get into things and see things. So this year, moving forward, I gave up social media last year when I first got on this board because I saw how easy it was to be captured by a comment and not let it go. I mean, I'm an Italian kid from Jersey. Like, we're definitely stuck on not letting things go. So I would love to see parents move forward, just letting teachers teach. You have so many layers of administrative people that you can come down on, no offense, Thomas, and Dr. Hummer and those guys. Let the teachers teach, but they also need to be disciplinarians for their classroom and for behavior and for people. This year, I'm gonna make a promise to the kids. We just talked about our strategic mission tonight, and our mission is super clear: academic achievement, educational excellence, and post-secondary success. None of which can be achieved categorically across the board if parents are fighting with each other, if they're making it difficult for administration to kind of get their jobs done. So I hope that we can all stop working counterintuitively and begin to build the bridge by filling in some gaps in our policies and in how we all work together. And I do hope that we form a group with our advisory committees and whatnot that is like this group. Diverse group of thinkers with lots of differing opinions who can really lay it all out for each other and try and find a happy middle. I want to wish everyone luck in the new year. I know we started school in August, but 2023, if you are a person that sets a parameter for a new year, a new you, then make sure that you only rely on you to be new. Don't ask anybody else to change, and if anybody gets in your way of change, walk around them. You'll get through it. The other thing I wanted to say too, just ladies, as a matter of note, you all have absolutely taught me how to think with the other half of my brain. And I feel like no matter how I may present here, it's super important that when you're now speaking, I can actually hear what you're saying and not think around it. So I appreciate the patience you've shown me on this board. And as we enter into year 2, I just want to let you know that I'm really excited.
Go, Miss Guy.
I forgot a little bit of what I was going to say, but I will say I'm excited that it's 2023. My resolution is to not drink coffee during meetings or before. Yeah, I know. So you guys have to hold me accountable. I am in withdrawals right now, but it's okay. It's all right. It's going to make me a better person. I may fall asleep one day, but it's all right. Miss Healy shall pinch me, keep me awake. I drank too much coffee. So this week I get to go out to a Cub Scout pack, which I don't know a lot about the Cub Scouts and the Girl Scouts, but I'm super excited to do that. I'm also going to ask my beautiful members of the board, if you guys to go to visit schools, let me know, because I am having technical difficulties driving with, we've got a shortage for a certain maker of American cars can't get their act together. And so my car is gonna be in the shop for months, so I would love to tag along. And so you'd have to pick me up. But I need to go to some schools. I gotta get my job done, so. But also, on more important news, on the 28th, I am having my second Acquia Town Hall. I have not found a free location yet, but I will let you know. I do not want to have it on any of our property because I don't want to put any more burdens or stress on our staff. So, but save the date, and if you are one of the 5 people who came out to my last town hall, we can button up some of the conversations and the questions that we had. And I just look forward to working with you beautiful ladies, and I look very much forward to sitting next to Ms. Healy and causing trouble during the meetings.
grand. Dr. Warner?
Well, first of all, I want to welcome Catherine, and I want to thank Ms. Solomon as well for joining us. I think it is important for us to get student perspectives because we have a tendency to look at things from a more fiscal and learning and a different, we see things through a different lens, as Dr. Chase would say. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the teacher at Richland Elementary School, the Richland Raccoons. Yesterday, when I was at Widewater Elementary School, in solidarity with the teacher, all the staff was wearing the colors of the school, which is dark green and black. And they are the raccoons, like our Rock Hill raccoons. So I just want to say that these tragedies are avoidable, and there is no reason that a 6-year-old should have been able to get his hands on a gun. But I know that when these things happen, our teachers feel that too. So I want to just say how impressed I was with our staff and how they've pulled together to try to help one of their own. In the same way that the Buffalo Bills and Tamar Hamlin, being a Bills fan, we need to make sure that we do that as a community, as we reach out and we help other people at times of need. I do want to say that having been in the elementary schools a lot this year, I've been so impressed with how I see the classrooms operate and how I see how well the kids are doing, and I see how well they're growing and how much they're learning, and how the teachers are growing and learning too. You know, when they have challenges with disruptive students or with how to teach a lesson, they reach out to their peers and they solve those problems. And I'm seeing that in real time, and I'm just so impressed with the staff we have, with the kids we have. It was really nice to be back in school and to see the kids. And it's really nice to see how much they're learning and how much progress they're making, and knowing that they're in a really supportive and loving environment. I would like to say thank you to our advisory committees. I think this was the best advisory committee introduction that we've ever had. I think it's the opportunity to meet with the people that we appointed and put a name to a face, the opportunity to go through those applications. I think it was really a valuable experience for us, and I think it really legitimized the entire process. We do seek out our parents and ask them to give us advice on different topics. We can't be experts on everything. It's one of the things I discovered since joining the board, is that you don't have to just, there's fiscal, there's transportation challenges, there's building, there's all sorts of things that we may or may not have had experience with in our previous lives. I also want to tell the school board that I did receive a compliment from several staff members who've been impressed with how we've grown as a board over the year, that they've seen an improvement in how we communicate with each other. And you probably couldn't get much more diversity on this board as far as ideas and backgrounds and beliefs, but we do try to work together. We do try to listen to each other. And I think that's critical to the success of any board, and especially when we face so many challenges in the society and in the communities that we do. So I just want to say we're off to a great 2023, and I'm very excited, and I'm looking forward to visiting schools, and I will definitely give Ms. Guy a call.
Ms. Sigmund?
I cannot believe it has been a year. I can't believe it. And
Only
I know.
Only a year.
For me, some of us have been around a little longer.
It's been a big year.
It has been, and Joe, I can't believe it. I agree. I have been looking forward to this advisory committee night for a long time. Advisory committees are so important to the feedback this board receives, and some of the big and small changes we make at a division level and at a school level sometimes and oftentimes originate, as a little seed from an advisory committee. And to see that just, even looking at the list, even if they couldn't all come here tonight, pretty much every committee is fully staffed with people from every district. And I don't know that I've seen that before. And I'm so grateful to every citizen that, took the time to apply, to give up their time, to be on these committees. Citizens, get involved. Find out who your reps are. Email them if it's a committee that you have an interest in but don't have the time to serve. Come come when you can, email when you can, read the minutes, watch the meetings. It is so, so important to have your feedback. I do want to welcome our new student reps. I'm so excited that we are one of those cool boards now that has a student member, 2 student members, so thank you for. Oh, they're going to make us cool or not, so. None at all. And before she got here, I was the youngest one here, so I've lost my hat. Darn it. I also wanted to invite people to attend. Me and Ms. Halstead have our budget town hall, 7 o'clock, February 13th at Winding Creek. And then I'm kind of going to channel a little bit of Alyssa. You don't have to time me. But there's this saying that I heard in college that I just keep coming back to in the work that we do, and it's when the winds of change are blowing, you can build walls or you can build windmills. And I've only lived in Stafford County for about 17 years. I know some of you are lifers, so I like to say only. But even in this, relatively short period of time, I can't believe the change that I've seen. We moved here, I lived in South Stafford when there was no Conway Elementary School at all, when Leland Station was just a station. And then we moved up to Garrisonville, where Embry Mill was just a few streets of new homes, and we had to drive much, much further to get public subs. And change is inevitable. We can resist it, we can fight it, we can hate it, but that is not going to stop it. We can try to build walls, but walls will keep everything out, and some of the changes are good. So what do? We build windmills. Up here on this dais, every time Richmond passes a law that impacts schools, we have to build a windmill. And then we pass that change to our building administration, and then they have to build some windmills. And our educators determine how those changes impact their lessons plans or their classroom management, and then they build even more windmills. So why windmills? Because when we build walls, we end up having to spend $3 million on trailers. About half of which are coming to Garrisonville, based on that sheet. When we build walls, we don't order buses in time, we don't have people to drive them. When we build walls, we welcome 40,000 new residents to Stafford County and don't add any seats for kids. Those are building walls. So friends, we need to start building windmills. Change is coming, and I'm tired of waiting for the wind to stop so we can tear down the walls. We need to build windmills so we can harness the change and make it work for us. Be a windmill. Thank your child's teacher. Better yet, volunteer, offer to help. And not just the teachers, their drivers, their nurses, counselors, the speech therapist, the principal, all of them. Thank them. They are doing a lot. And they have us. So thank them. Join your PTO, booster, parent organization of anything your kid is involved in. Attend a school board meeting, a board of supervisor meeting, a committee meeting, anything. Cheer for our students and their coaches on stage or on their fields. Stop being afraid of what you read in the headlines or on Twitter or on Facebook, and find out what is happening in your schools right here, right now. I need you guys to advocate for the changes you want. To me, to your delegate, to the superintendent, to somebody. But we need to know what you want to see so we can help you get there. Because we're going to do one thing. We're going to build schools or we're going to buy trailers. Because change is coming. And we need to do it right. So please, help us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sigmund. Ms. Healy?
It's going to sound like there's an echo in here because a lot of us are saying essentially the same thing, but it's important. I'm going to start off thanking my fellow board members for allowing me to be vice chair. I look forward to working with Ms. Randall. She's ready to roll. And I think we've come a long way since last year. I mean, we didn't even know each other last year. Lots of angst. Now we can laugh with each other. We can cry with each other. And, we can work together. And I think we've really shown that. And we can only move forward from here. The best news is that everyone here is here for the kids. And we have Dr. Taylor to help us give support, which is incredibly important. So I think we're going to have a great year. And I didn't realize that was one of your numbers. That's great. Well, we look forward to this year. Want to welcome everyone back to the second half of the school year. The first half went fast, the second half's going to fly by. I have no doubt. I mean, after next week, January's over. A couple more months, we're going to be graduating. Crazy. Want to thank all the committee members, the new members, the returning members, people that volunteered for the brand-new committees. But I also want to thank all who offered to serve on the committees who we weren't able to offer slots for. It was tough. I mean, we had so many well-qualified people. And when I talk about qualified, some of it's in the field, but some of it's just the enthusiasm and them wanting to participate and give back to the community. So thank you to everyone. And just because you weren't named to one of these committees does not mean that we don't need you or want you to participate with the schools. So keep in touch with us. There are always opportunities to volunteer. Want to welcome our students. I've had the privilege of meeting them earlier this afternoon, and so exciting to have these young women join us here. And I hope that that you can learn as much from us as we're going to learn from you, because I have no doubt that you're going to have a big influence on this board and the policies in Stafford County as we move forward, particularly since you're the first ever. So you are the trailblazers, ladies. Finally, I want to thank Principal Amy Ivory of Drew Middle School, who hosted Congresswoman Abigail Bamberger yesterday, who came to the school and spoke to the students at Drew about the 3 branches of government. And she answered a lot of questions from the students, and Ms. Randall and I were able to attend, and we were so impressed with the students, the questions that they asked. And the Congresswoman turned it right back at them when they said, what are your top 3 priorities? She says, well, let me ask you, what are yours? And those students, they were right there, and they responded. And the first priority that came from the student was education, which, of course, we were very happy to hear, weren't we, Ms. Randall? But the Principal Ivory was very warm and welcoming, and it was a delight to be at Drew Middle School. I only wish that Dr. Chase had been in town, because I think she would have been very proud to show off Drew. I know it's one of our oldest, and certainly one of the most neediest in terms of renovations, but there's so much spirit and love in that school. And it starts with the principal and goes all the way through. So thank you very much. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Ms. Healy. I'd like to welcome everyone back. Once again, I want to thank my colleague friends up here for choosing me to be your chair this year. I enjoyed being vice chair, working with Ms. Healy and working with all of you. Although I have to say, enough of the New Jersey, New York ladies up here. You're getting a little bit too much for me. But we actually do a lot. We do a lot to work together in making sure that we hear each other's voices, and that we, just make sure that we take time to listen, have conversations, and they're not all easy, but still, we have a pretty good rapport up here. So I'm really proud of the work that we do. Again, I'd like to thank all the committee members that came out and answered our calls and our emails and our text messages, asking you to support our schools and join these committees. And like Ms. Healy said, not everyone could we find a home for, but it doesn't mean we didn't want you. We still do. There's other ways, but it's really, really impressive to have several events. Really want to thank Dr. Taylor for having us with his, listen and learns. We can drop in and be around the public, with the opportunity for our CIP town halls to interact with the public, to now have our upcoming budget town halls, having these advisory committees, bringing students on and bringing on our board as well as these committees. We just need to keep growing the folks in our community around our schools, because schools are definitely something that, are a mirror image of what our community looks like. I know that, we've talked about when you see something, say something, and when that goes for the parents. If you see something on social media, or you see something, hear something in your home, please contact your schools, because these kids are coming by the busloads. Over 30,000 students are coming by the busloads with things that are happening outside the school. Our principals, our teachers, counselors, they're there for you. Please utilize our resources. We can help our students if you let us know things are happening. I would also like to thank our communications team. They did such a good professional job tonight in putting out reception foods for our folks that came, name badges, little gift bags. You just went over and above and beyond to welcome our people that came this evening, and that was, to watch it being set up this afternoon, it was very impressive. So I really appreciate the extra work staff did to make our parents and community members welcome into, and Dr. Taylor too, for finding those. It was nice to have Ms. Boatwright doing the FOIA training in a fun way, so sweet, and then having the fun activities to break in and getting to talk to these people who I only knew through an application, but then I got to put a face to them. That was really nice as well. I would also like to encourage everyone, once again, please come out to our budget town halls. We are going to be engaging in the next couple months some pretty intense budget work. And not only do we need your input here, but we also need it across the street as well. We think we've got a pretty good momentum going, but we definitely want you to join that train of communication between school board and supervisors to make sure that the voice of our citizens, the voice of our youngest citizens, are heard for the needs that they have in education. I want to thank everyone tonight for coming out, and our next meeting is Valentine's Day, February 14th at 7 p.m. Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.
Will there be cake?
I do not eat chocolate. If anyone wants to bring me
Cake?
candy.
Can we bring
I
cake?
don't eat not
Can we have cake, Madam Chair? Madam Chair, I want cake.
I don't make